Hey guys, good morning. It's well after dark, so much after dark that it's good morning. Ow. And today on the show, we're going to have Jeremy Mercier. So hopefully you guys are doing well. And you remember, as you can see, I'm making the big bucks now. Bought myself a house. I'm out of the truck and it's a little drafty. Got to work on the windows. I hope you joined us last night. We had Ryan Harris from Snow West Magazine on. That was a huge thumbs up. I want to thank Ryan again for taking the time. You will notice too, and if you didn't watch it live, that the video gets cut off because you're only allowed 1 hour. Who can only talk for 1 hour? We needed like 2 or 3 hours. We're going to have Ryan back on the program for sure. Such an interesting guy, and huge props for all he does for the whole industry. Not only our team, but every team, every brand, you just gotta, hey, Stefan, good morning to you, and does so much. So, we're gonna talk to Jeremy. We got lots of cool things to cover today. Jay Manaberry, I hope you're up. You're probably not up. You could be up, but hopefully you're up. I'm gonna get Jeremy on the line right now. Let me grab this. Jeremy's gonna join us. And as you can see, it's a beautiful day in Squamish, British Columbia. Steve, welcome. Good morning. There he is.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, very good. Now I got something to show you because this is really important. Look what I'm.
Is it
look
a
what
haircut?
look what I'm doing, buddy. Do you see the gazebo?
Oh yeah, a little carpentry.
I am attempting, the easiest part is ripping it off. That's
Yes.
the easiest part. So, it needs new cedar shingles put on the top. So yesterday, I'm going to have everybody I think in the world is going to have the best looking house on the planet because we got nothing else to do except cut our grass. I already pressure washed the deck, cut the grass, paint it all around the house. So this is the last job. So once this is over, I'm out of here. So, how are you doing this morning, Jeremy?
Good. I'm good, man. We did a camp out in the camper with my kiddo last night and our puppy, and I got about 3 hours of sleep, so feeling great.
I love it. You were camping right beside the house.
Yeah, right next to the house. Can't go anywhere, so it's fun.
I love it. I'm making my way to the front of the house. Did you watch any of the program last night with Ryan Harris?
I didn't. I was too busy with the kiddo last night. I heard it was good though.
Well, no problem. It was an amazing show, as you know. You got to ride with Ryan Harris. We'll talk a little bit about that. He mentioned you and how much fun you guys had on the new turbos. But he is. I was just saying, starting out this morning, what an amazing guy, and does so much for our industry. And he's such a cool guy too.
Oh, he's super fun to ride with too. I was blown away at how good of a rider he is. Like going riding in his backyard. He was. It was pretty impressive. It was a fun day.
Yeah, cool. Well, I've made my way to the front of the house here. I got look what I got above me. Your favorite sled.
It is my favorite sled. How many miles do you have on that thing?
Miles, or
kilometers?
I'm around 2,000 miles.
Wow. Good for you, buddy.
Well, I'm like you too, right? I think people forget. I would have a lot more. I live 15 minutes from the riding area. So actually, I don't put many miles on getting to the area. Just like you, you kind of ride from the house a lot. Yeah. And it's funny when you do lots of long trips. It's amazing when you do when you do 70K or 35 kilometers into a zone, it's basically 80K of your day is on a trail, right? Getting into the zone. And I never do that. I do that a couple of, maybe 10 times a season, but most of my riding is just like not right out of my house, but not far. So I don't put a lot of kilometers on the trail. That doesn't add up. People always ask how many kilometers you do. I don't really count anymore because it's more about the quality over
for sure
quantity, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like I actually like a good day for me is only like 30 or 40 miles. Yeah, it's not a big day, but it's like going to one zone and just thrashing it, and then I'm out.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. And let's start that off. How has your turbo been? I mean, the biggest question we get from guys is how is that sled and what problems have you had, et cetera, et cetera.
I've had zero problems with it. I have around 1,700 miles on the snowmobile, and I'm actually on my second belt. That's it. That's the only maintenance really, is replacing the belt. I've blown out the clutches, but I've had zero issues with this sled, Dave. Not one.
Have you adjusted your chain case?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like have you had to do it a lot?
A few times, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm actually amazed. I haven't had to adjust my chain yet.
Wow.
I'm blown away at that. I changed a belt at 2,000 kilometers. So about, I know you did it around 1,000 miles. Did it about 1,300 miles.
And you know what? I didn't even need to necessarily replace it. It was just wearing and losing some performance. And honestly, like I put it on my spare. So it's my get out of the backcountry belt now.
Yeah. I agree. Towards the end or in February, in early March, end of February, I do a lot more sled skiing because on the coast here, the storms just aren't as big and we get nicer weather, which is awesome. And sled skiing is, can be hard on stuff because you got two guys on there, but you're actually in a way, I think, easier on the belt. You're just not pinning it through deep pow. And so I could have gone the whole season on mine. I kind of did the same thing. I was dropping about 200 RPMs, and
yeah, exactly.
I noticed that. And you can feel it for those people who, when you take off your belt and clean it, you can feel it gets a little more flexy. Doesn't feel as it just doesn't feel as rigid, I guess, is the right word.
Yeah, exactly. And you notice 200 RPMs for sure.
Yeah, totally. And not that I look at, some guys want to hit that RPM every time perfectly. And I don't necessarily do that. I only look when there might be an issue or, a perfect example is sled skiing. And we got two guys and we're ripping up the steep hill and the skis are off the ground. You're looking at the RPM just to see if it drops or how it holds. Same with track speed. And the other day, me and a buddy, we were getting 50 miles an hour track speed going up in this bowl.
With two guys?
With two guys and about, I don't know, it was about 20 centimeters of powder.
Wow.
Yeah,
and what's your highest track speed you've had on that, Dave?
I actually don't know because when I'm riding by myself, I usually never really look.
Yeah.
And it's more just when you got two guys in there and you're just standing and you're going up, like we have this bowl that we basically punch right up the middle of it once we sort of settle into it. And it's a bit hard to make the last bit up to this sort of, you kind of come in a different area. So you got to kind of punch straight up to it. And that's where that last section is where we're doing it. And my buddy has a 175, one of my old sleds actually. And to see the difference in that 175, how it gets there, and it gets there. But man, the turbo is it's just a kick in your pants fun. You get to the top and you're giggling, like shaking your head how fast. I mean, it is the difference between a supercar and a sort of a fast car, right? The turbo just because it's so quick and does everything, you still get to the top on a 175, not naturally aspirated, but man, when the turbo is, you're just like giggling when you get to the top.
Well, yeah, especially for my elevation, like my house is at 9,200 feet, right? So I was losing so much horsepower in the years before this, and now I actually rode my NA sled a few weeks ago, and great snowmobile, I love it, but I felt like I was on a 600 all day. Like I was like, wait a minute, where's it at?
Yeah,
still an awesome snowmobile and super capable, but man, it would be really hard to go back after riding the turbo all season. I don't think I could do it. How about you?
Yeah, no, I would do it like if the honest question is, if I had to go out and buy a snowmobile tomorrow or put down for a snowmobile, I would buy a 175 Expert, and I would find a way to work all summer to afford the turbo, because actually the price up from the turbo is not much more. I'm pretty good at, I always now, if I buy something, I always, it shoots me into a gear that I just pay it off right away, because I don't know why. It's one of those things, I guess, the secret of life, you buy something, and then you're gonna figure a way to pay it. I don't like having loans or that sort of thing. But for that, so I'm good at actually on the back end making it fast, so that by the time winter comes around, I don't own anything on it. I'm just gonna go ride it, kind of thing. And
that's how I used to do it. I used to go put my deposit down in the spring, and every month of the summer I'd go to the dealer and give them $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, and by the time I picked it up, it was paid off.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice way to ride, and then you just don't have to think about it, worry about it, and that's the truth. That sled, especially for me, because I'm a smaller guy, and it really helps me in every situation. Like the same with the 175. We get a lot of big coastal snowpack and lots of pow, and that turbo now on that 75, man, just even brings it to life even more than the G. I mean, the 174 on the T3 was amazing. It was a light game changer when it went to 175 in the G4 because it was just lighter, and then now it feels lighter yet again. So for what I do in the sled skiing, and if it hindered me, I wouldn't do it. I can get any sled I want, but yeah, it's for me, it's the 175, and it would be a turbo if that was my only go-to sled.
Mine would be 165, but I can totally understand why you would go 175. You guys get a little bit more snow than we do.
Well, I don't know if that's true, dude. Every year we talk about I'm gonna come there. Like I got to get there and ride with you in your area because you just kill it. I just want to say that too. Is if you don't follow Jeremy Mercier on Instagram and Facebook, you have to do it. You are the first out of the season usually, and you're usually the last out of the season. And not just, you don't just go to say, hey, I'm on the snow, which we get a few guys up here. It snows 30 centimeters, and guys are trying to find the pow to make everybody jealous. You're riding and game on, and you know to wait because you don't want to wreck stuff, and plus it's higher in your elevation, so you want to get to the right zones. Amazing job this year, I want to say. All your content, from your Avi safety to your just general stoke.
Thanks, buddy.
Every day is stoke day at Jeremy Mercier's house, and I know the feeling somewhat because we live very similar lives, but I just want to say I love watching all your content, and it's great. And plus all your buddies, the guys who you're riding with, they're super great guys, and always fun to watch as well. Whether they're upside down, whether you're upside down, or whether everybody's right side up.
Yeah, for sure. I feel really lucky to have such good riding buddies, for sure. They're all super Avi savvy and funny and fun to be around. And when we go out, it's just about having fun all day. That's it.
Yeah.
And if we capture cool content, awesome. If we don't, we don't,
Yeah. Yeah. And Stefan Jasmine, he's concurring with me that you're killing it, and so keep it up. Now, one of the things that people might not know about you is how much you like beer.
I do like beer.
I would say you're pretty much a beer connoisseur.
Yeah, I am, for sure. I like my IPAs. Usually, in the summer, especially when I work like those 12, 13, 14-hour days. Nothing tastes better than a beer after doing that all day of construction. Not just one. It's usually two or three,
Well,
some days.
Yeah, well, the first disappointing thing about this interview is your wife and I talked, and she's going to put you on the noon beverage, which is a little bit lower calorie for you.
Yes,
and
3-2 beer at noon, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Joking aside, I never day drink. I'm definitely a 5 o'clock onward kind of guy. I was gonna crack a beer for this interview this morning, but I just don't have it in me. So
I heard you had a challenge for me.
I did. I'm betting you can't drink a beer off your garage door.
Okay, well, challenge noted.
Okay.
It's not going to happen right now on camera, but I'm gonna do it today, and I'm gonna post it. It'll be up on my Instagram. People, if you don't know what a drinking a beer off your garage door is, we're gonna show. I'm not gonna show you, but you're gonna see it when I do it. And we're going to go one step further. I'm going to, Jay Menterbury, who's probably still in bed. He's probably, I'll tell you, he's probably wearing his Green Lantern underwear. His duvet is probably only covering his lower ankle, and half of his body is probably out of his bed right about now. But when he gets up, he'll get the challenge from me to do a garage beer. But his first challenge is not a garage beer. It's the cul-de-sac, baby. So for Colton Olstad.
That is a really good look, Dave. It makes you look about 20 years older.
I know. My wife still can't look at me without cracking up. And this is the cul-de-sac. Colt Nolstad brought it to life, and we're going to bring it back. I'm challenging all my teammates on the Skidoo team for the cul-de-sac, and it's we're just doing it because what else are you going to do right now? And you know what? The funny thing is I at first I thought it looked funny, and I was going to wear a hat everywhere. but the but the
You got to put your hat back on. I can't look at you
but
with a serious face.
the best part of it here. How about this? Actually, I was going to say, tell most people that I've been wearing a toupee for about 10 years, and this is my reveal right now, is to get it off. But I actually, the more I run around with it, I haven't taken it out of town yet, on the town, but I'm thinking the next time I go into the grocery store or to the post office, I'm
going to run, see how it goes.
I'm going to run the cul-de-sac and just sort of see how it goes. And so anyway, Jay Maneberry is Steve saying nice haircut. Hey, that's not a haircut, it's a hairstyle. It's a hairstyle. Yeah.
My hair's getting pretty long, Dave. I could probably do it.
Well, I'm challenging you, cul-de-sac.
Maybe today.
Yeah, and tag Colt Nolstad. We miss him on the hill climb circuit, along with all the boys of Skidoo, with Blaine and Carl and Jay. And this is our way of saying, hey, man, we miss you out there. I live on a cul-de-sac. So it's kind of like, if people ask me, I just say, I did this to make a map so I can find my way home.
You're going to put your address on the top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So I had a few questions for you. Hey, the other thing we should talk about, I think I'm gonna, this is gonna show if we're good friends or not. What's your favorite show, for the reason that has nothing to do with the show, but that's something you and I both like?
What? The show?
There's a fall show that we've been to together.
Heydays?
Yeah, not that one, but it's a show that we go, and what we like about the show has nothing to do with the show.
Barbacoa, buddy. Best restaurant in Idaho.
Did we just become best friends?
We did. That was so fun. We went there 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Just for the guacamole alone.
Yeah, I remember when I first went to Barbacoa. If you've never been there, it's in Idaho. It's it's in Idaho. And it's unbelievable. This restaurant it's I think one of my favorite restaurants. It's right up there.
Matt Ent says he's been living with that hairstyle for years. Didn't know it was a style.
It's coming back, Matt. There you go,
Matt,
buddy.
It's the new look, buddy.
We're bringing it. We're bringing it back, Matt. We're bringing it back. And and so what? So we went to Barbacoa as a team. And I remember the first time I went there, I was like, this place is awesome. So now I beg to go to the Idaho Snowmobile Show, which is really hard because Jay and Tony both live right near there. So we have to make sure they're busy doing something else. And then we get to go. And so when I told Jeremy about it, when we went the first night, and you know what we also do? What do we do so that we can afford Barbacoa?
What do we do?
We don't really eat. We don't eat. We don't usually have breakfast.
It is fairly expensive.
Everybody knows in our job we get a per diem, and it's about $3 for breakfast. It's $3.50 for lunch, and dinners are sort of unlimited. So if you don't eat breakfast and lunch, you just can go on the unlimited program. And so we go to Barbacoa and we light it up, and good times there.
For sure. It's pretty hard to beat Heydays, though, man. That is really, really fun because we're all together as a team, and we get a little bit wild maybe. Did you see Ashley's video she posted last night?
I did. She actually asked me if she should post it, if she thought it was a little bit crazy. I said, you post that. I
told her not to, but she did anyway. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think people don't. Well, if they follow us, they see, and they don't get to see all the fun stuff that happens. That was that 2 years ago in Heydays, we had a house right on the lake, and we thought it was going to be awesome until we all arrived in the one bedroom where we had bunk beds.
Oh yeah, how'd that turn out for you, Dave?
Yeah, well, when Jay lost my bed, so it was a little bit hard at first.
I might have helped with that a little bit.
It's
Might have hit it on you.
As I said, it's like living with a bunch of snowboarders.
Yeah, totally.
You can't go to sleep because you don't know what's going to happen if you go to sleep until someone else is asleep. And then you're not.
We could order so many Big Macs that late at night either. How many Big Macs did we order that night, and how many did you eat?
Man, there's nothing like McDonald's after a night of downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times, buddy.
So yeah, you can check. I'm going to share that tomorrow, but you can. I like that. How does washing your clothes in the dishwasher work?
What's up, Ross?
Not that well. Not that well. So yeah. So very, very cool. I was going to ask you what your favorite thing is about Heydays, because I agree with you. Heydays is just because of all the people that are there and everybody. If you're not at Heydays, it's like, you
can't miss it.
You can't miss it.
I love it. I love it for the fans. Literally, just all the people that come and say hello, and you get to chat with them. People that we talk with on like social media, and they finally come to see you, and you'll spend like an hour and a half with one person. Sometimes they're just so excited to meet you and talk with you and ask about your season and the sleds. It's a pretty special feeling. And obviously hanging out with my teammates, which at night, that it does not get any better than that.
Yeah. And during the day, last year we did the $100 challenge, pulling out things. And, I told people the story about how you thought you were going to win. You guys were like pumped. You came in there like, we're going to win this.
Overconfident, man. I was overconfident.
What did you guys had? You had like a rototiller or something?
Yeah. Gooster and I tried to make a snowmobile, so we took like an old snowblower and an old wagon and like kind of tied it together and tried to ride on it together. We found an old seat. But the year before, we did get a 69 Olympic that did not running out in the salvage yard, and rode it all the way back to the Skidoo booth. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, because I will remind you that you thought you guys were going to win. You rode that sort of man-made snowmobile in, and then myself and Rob and Brett, we actually, all three of us rolled in on I think it was a 70 or 68 or something like. It was a single ski.
Yeah, it was an Alpine, right?
Yeah, an Alpine. That's right. We drove it right into the booth.
I remember.
and we're pretty smart. We went with that old saying, if it flies or floats, or then rent it.
Exactly. I like Steve Cowing's idea of parachuting in this year. Do you think that's going to happen, or?
Oh, we'll make it happen. That would be absolutely sick. There's not, the worst that can go wrong is 2 broken legs. But
exactly.
Other than that, it's all on the upside. So
yeah, exactly.
That would be.
I think that's how we should arrive this year for sure.
Yeah. What's your favorite food to eat at Heydays?
Ooh, man, none of it.
Nothing like a greasy. Actually, what I found, because I'm pretty a picky eater, is I found that the Mexican place was pretty radical.
Oh yeah, pretty radical afterwards too, right?
Yeah. Ross said the budgets are hurting, so it might just be corn. We might not get money this year. We might just get a coupon for a corn dog.
That's okay too. As long as we can all be together, that works.
I'm going to tell you, it's not okay by me. It's not okay.
Cheese curds are kind of fun to eat if you haven't had them before.
Yeah, I'm not into the cheese curds, but
they got it.
All.
Go to the bathroom for like a week later. They're great to eat, right?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So one of the things I do want to talk to you about, and I think people want to know, is you ride at 10,000 and above. So there's a lot of guys out there who also do. Let's talk a little bit about the new turbo and the naturally aspirated side, because that's what you were riding first. Let's talk a little bit about that at your elevation, because it is like riding a 600 in some cases, even less than that.
Yeah, for sure.
And how you kind of got by with that, and also your snow, because it's not just your elevation, it's also your snow conditions, this type of snow that makes it a little more challenging in your area in Colorado. Maybe let us know where you're at, and then talk a little bit about how that's changed now. I've seen the change just watching your Instagram and Facebook posts and videos, and then talking to you about it. So let us in on that.
So I live near Grand Lake in Winter Park in northern Colorado, and our snowpack's a continental snowpack, right? So it never really has a really good base. Like, we'll get lots of it, but let's say in December there might be 7 or 8 feet of snow on the ground, and it'll be all the way to the ground. So like your trenches some years are like 6-7 feet deep. Like, not a whole lot of base to our snowpack until usually like later in the season. Like right now, obviously it's really good base, but so it's really challenging snow to ride because it's often really sugary and you don't get a lot of good traction. So that's why I've always been a big fan of the 3-inch lug, because it really digs through that snow super well. For the most part, all of the riding, like the best snow in Colorado is 10,000 feet and above. There are some exceptions, like, of course, down lower, but typically that's where we ride. And on an average day, we don't probably go any higher than like maybe 12,000 feet. That would be the max. But if you wanted, you could ride up to 14,000 feet at certain times of the year when it's safe. But your snowmobile goes from having like okay horsepower to like you feel like you're on a 300 when you go that high. Like it literally just zaps, and it's not really that much fun to ride. It's just cool to go see the view and then come back down, right?
Yeah.
And so the turbo has been huge, and I've been wanting a turbo, a factory turbo. I probably bugged Steve Cowing and all the people at Skidoo for so many years, like, when's it coming? When's it coming? And of course they couldn't say anything, and I didn't know either. But when it finally came out, I just was like, thank God, because most of the people I ride with run turbos because of the elevation, and I never really did. I was always on a stock sled, which is good too, because you have to work a lot harder at it to ride to some of the places they do, and it makes you a better rider just riding a stock sled. You have to learn to zigzag up the mountain, and you have to learn better technique instead of just pointing it straight up, if that makes sense.
Right. And we're not here to bash aftermarket, because they've done a great job on some of their turbo kits and stuff. And you talk a little bit about that, because you did go to an aftermarket turbo kit, and we talked. I'll say it honestly. I talked to a bunch of guys, because people, like, I was like kind of like Ryan Harris. I was like, I don't even want to go there. Like, I'm not really mechanical. I don't want to sit in my garage, and I don't want to install it and all that sort of stuff. And some guys do. So I'm not saying, I'm just telling you what I do and what I don't want to do. When I say this to our audience is, and I talk to guys when they put a turbo on, and they all say it's pull and go. And then I say, well, tell me about your pull and go. And then they sort of talk to me for the next 30 minutes on all the things that they had to do to figure it out before they felt it was pull and go, which never actually ever sounded like pull and go. And I think it's kind of like that thing. If you love tuning and testing and you're really into it, like, just if you like working on cars isn't really a job for you. It's fun. And so it's the kind of same thing. People that love to tweak and play with high horsepower and turbos, they love doing it. So when they pull over on the side of the hill, that they're not thinking like you and I are like, dude, I want to go and I want to get the powder. They're thinking like, no, I want to make this machine run as best as possible. And
I totally get that appeal. Like I totally get why guys want to go for that, high boost power. It's super fun. I did it last year. I had a great experience with Boondocker Crew. They're an awesome company and worked hard together. And it did take work to tune that snowmobile. I'll just tell the truth. Like, it wasn't just bolt it on and go ride. There was definitely a period of time where I was like, man, this is kind of tough. Like, it took a lot of work to get it where I wanted it. But when we did get it where it was supposed to be, it was awesome. And I enjoyed it the rest of the season. Right. And it's just so hard to compare though. Like, there's literally on the new Skidoo Turbo, there is zero lag. And what I love about it is that last year I had a stocker and a turbo. And there was a lot of days where I would just ride my stock, my NA, because my turbo last year, it was kind of, it had lag. So when you needed to be in the boost, you were full throttle. It was like a handle to ride a lot of the time, which was super fun in the right conditions. But when it's this time of year, when it's firmer snow and you don't need all that power up high, you just want that bottom torque. That's where the Skidoo really shines, because you feel like you're riding a stalker down low, and you can just have that easy throttle and instant throttle response. It's awesome. You know, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I would say you're feeling like you're riding a stalker all the time. It's just that
you are, right?
You got way
Until that's, you hear that little whistle come on at 6,400 RPMs, you're like, I'm about to have a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, no, totally. It's there when you need it. You don't even have to think about it, and you don't have to pre-plan to get it into an RPM, zone
Exactly.
that you're gonna need, and so you don't have to think further ahead. And that's why I've had so many people ride it, and from new riders to guys that have spent 30, for 20 years they spent 30,000-40,000 every year on turbos and high horsepower turbos. And one of the guys that from Prince George, he said it. He goes, if you are a turbo guy and you ride this Skidoo sled, it is cheap for what you get. And I agree. Like, once and Ryan said it best in his video. He's like, if you ride in the mountains and you like riding lots and riding deep pow, there's no other sled to look at except for the turbo. And it's always hard for us to say that, because we don't want to, there's a time and place for everything, and not everybody can afford that or wants to afford that. They have families and they have other things. But man, actually Skidoo made it incredibly inexpensive to own one of those turbos.
Yeah, for sure. And the NA sled, Dave, most days it's awesome, right? Like, it's just when it's really deep, or you're really pushing your riding and you're trying to ride something steep and scary and fun at the same time. That's where it really shines. It's tough one. I could see having an NA for sure on a budget.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I do tons of sled skiing, as you know, and that's, sled skiing, you don't really need it. I mean, I can't even come to say the words, because you could say you don't need a turbo, but man, everything is just more fun. I mean, I take guys out who are skiers, and they're like, they have more fun riding the machine than they do skiing that day. And so when the turbo, like, I've been sled skiing with a buddy now for 2 seasons, and we go basically every day. It's sled ski. It's with him and I, and then when I got the turbo, he's just like, holy crap, this is so much fun. It's like, even for both of us, it's like a whole new sport of just getting to the top, right? And so I find when I ski is when the snow's not as deep. So if it's super deep, I'm riding just like you.
Yeah.
You're looking for the deep pow. And then those days that it's like, I don't know, 15, 20, it's not like super, super deep. Those are the best ski days, because the danger's down.
Sure.
After 2 or 3 days of riding. You've been riding in safer zones because you got the power to go in those zones. Skiing, you need like the steeper terrain. And once here on the coast, we're really lucky, a day or 2 days after a big storm, it's kind of like it's really bridged up, and it's a lot safer. And now you can hit all those lines on your skis, and you're out. Like last year in March, there was probably 3 weeks where most guys didn't even go sledding, because it was minus 20. It stopped snowing after a storm, and so there was like big ruts everywhere, and they kind of froze. And I was going up every day, and I was touring off my sled to zones that had minus 20 centimeters of pow that no one could get to riding. And I was just touring. And plus, it was, if I went to Whistler, it was freezing cold, because when you go downhill, you're ripping down the hill. And in the backcountry, you're touring up, so you're staying warm, and then you're not skiing as fast as you are in the backcountry as you are on a resort. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. And most guys weren't going out because it was just hard packed everywhere. So it just adds to my days and my stoke days. And I love skiing too. I mean, skiing and snowmobiling are one and the same for me. I kind of like riding the same lines that I would, but that you can on the snowmobile, because you got a turbo under your hood that takes you there.
That pow surfer you had out the other day looked really fun. I was pretty jealous. That looks awesome, Dave.
Yeah, it's a little challenging to get used to, but man, I'm getting dialed a little bit better. I watched Jeremy.
You look like you owned it.
Well, he makes them. Jeremy Jensen, he's like a big Skidoo fan too, and he, when you watch his videos and he's doing flip tricks with it and stuff, you realize you suck. but I absolutely love it in the right snow conditions, man. It feels like you're dropping in on a wave. So,
Cool.
hey, Jeremy, we got a question here, guys. Like, why only a 2-year factory warranty? Do you want to talk to that a little bit? What do you think about? Let me. I want you to talk about that, but I also want you to talk about how you feel the sled will last after spending so much time on it.
I mean, I get it why someone would ask that question, right? The NA comes with 4 years. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, 4 years under 3 years, and then you can add a year with your spring.
That's right. You add a year through best or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like a 2-year warranty is pretty fair for that machine. You know, after spending, I'd still be riding every day if we didn't have what was going on, and I'd probably put 2,500 miles or more just in 4 or 5 months on that sled, and I wouldn't really be that concerned about it. I've literally tried to beat it up as hard as I could, like just ride it wide open all the time, fully pinned. It's not something I would be concerned about. And I know with the 2-year warranty, you can also add another year warranty through your dealer. And honestly, for me, after even if I was buying sleds still, like after 2 or 3 years, I usually would get a new one anyway, just because of the depreciation, right?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, so we get guys now that are saying, oh, why don't you have a 4-year warranty like Arctic Cat? Well, actually, Arctic Cat doesn't have a 2-stroke turbo. Neither does any of the other manufacturers. So you can't really compare a naturally aspirated sled, because our naturally aspirated sleds all have 4-year warranty, or 3 years plus if you spring check, you get that extra year. So one of the things that you have to be cognizant of is the comparables, and how, if you own a business, if any of these guys out here work, you didn't start at your highest wage, you start at your lowest wage, right? And you work your way up. The good people get more money, and the people that don't work out get fired or keep at a lower wage. So nobody shows all their cards first, is what I would say. And having ridden it, I have absolutely no concern at all if I had to purchase one with a 2-year warranty, even a 1-year warranty.
No.
Stuff can happen at any time with anything. So having ridden it, I know that for the most part, I think that most things are easier on this machine. So yeah, you're going to pin it, and it's going to be, I would think that the belt would go through faster, gas and oil would go way faster, but it doesn't. You're not seeing, like when you're on the turbo on those deep days, you're going through fuel, but you're going through fuel on anything. So if you have a naturally aspirated sled and it's 5 feet and the only reason you might go through the fuel faster on the turbo is because you're riding it. On a naturally aspirated, you're stuck a lot more. So if you're sitting around for 30 minutes on every dig, yeah, you're out for 2 more hours, but you only spent that 2 hours digging. This thing, you're ripping everywhere. So you have to put it in perspective of actually what the true factor is. I'm actually blown away when I go in and clean the belt, my clutches. It's actually, there's less to do. So that means, much like the 850, that it became easier, and then things lasted longer. And there were issues at the beginning in 17. Those are sorted mostly in 18, and now you don't even talk about 19 and 20. I mean, the guys that talk about it are still kind of just want to live in the past and whatever. And yes, it was a pain in the butt because there wasn't a fix right away in 17, which there never is. Guys that have other brands, if there's a problem, it doesn't come till the next year when they're actually making the parts. So for me, there, as my friend said, he goes, I don't even look at that, because I want to ride this sled and I'm going to ride it, and you can wait. That's why, in a way, the best deal right now is those 20 and a half. So if you find one of those, they're like $1,000 cheaper, even more so, because lots of shops are discounting them. And you get everything that you're going to get next year. And they're a wicked deal, man. And a lot of guys make a big difference of that rear shock, like not having good compression dampening like the free ride shock. I notice no difference, because I have both, and I have a bunch of different sleds that have the free ride suspension. They have the expert, and then I have the turbo, and I'm like, I don't notice anything. It's been revalved and set up the same way. So, and for me, when we talk about suspension, it's, really, I'm not a big jumper. So really the suspension helps me when the snow conditions are crappy and the trail is crappy. And I don't care about the trail because I go out to get deep powder, and any decent rider can overcome a lot of those things that people might complain about.
For sure.
And I think it's, when people talk about the warranty, I think exactly you said it best. It's totally fair. I think guys can add more. Yeah, you're going to pay for it. Just it's better that you pay for it that way than everybody pay for it if they don't
And
need
I'm
it.
going to ask, like, what are the other OEM offering for their turbo 2-strokes for warranty right now?
Yeah, exactly. It's again, it's not bashing. Skidoo has
No, not at all.
led the way, and man, we are so lucky to get to ride those sleds and get to ride them with the engineers and get to talk about them and know the ins and outs of all the tricks that go on, and which we try to pass on to every other rider out of there. And
so Dave, we got a good question. If you weren't ordering a turbo this year, which track length would you go with on a turbo versus an NA?
Same for me. I would have the 175 Expert. And I'll tell you why. I have a Summit X 175 that I put the new spindles on. And I could not believe how good that 2020 climbs. That 175 is a monster. And like I said, I have a buddy who has one of my old ones, an 18, who's he's got about 5,000 K on it, and the thing still runs like it's brand new. It's amazing when I compare it. We ride, like, I have the turbo, he has the 175, and man, the thing goes everywhere. It's not as exciting as the turbo because it gets there faster with the track speed and the skis are lifting. But if I had to go out and buy a sled tomorrow, naturally aspirated to be an Expert 175.
Fair enough.
What about you?
Okay. 165 for sure. 165, turbo or not turbo, that's just my favorite track length. It's the best in the middle. Yep. Someone just asked me what I was going to get. So 165 turbo for sure.
Yeah. Now, somebody asked you to give us a belt temp sensor on the naturally aspirated sleds. I believe there is one now. Am I wrong there? Maybe Ross can.
Sorry.
Did you hear me there, Jeremy?
You're kind of breaking up. Now I can.
Okay. Someone was asking why no belt temp sensor on the naturally aspirated sled. Oh, maybe I'll move out here. Can you hear me, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's a little better, Dave.
Okay. Someone was asking if the belt sensor is on the naturally aspirated sleds. I thought it was. The belt heat temperature.
You started to break up. You're asking if the belt sensor came on an NA sled?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe there is. Someone's just answering it. I just forget right now. I think Ross might be the best to answer that. But yeah, the belt temp sensor is NA50s get a belt monitoring system for 2021 as well. That's right. So that's what I thought. Yeah. So for 2021, all the non-aspirated in the mountain lineup will have that belt temp. And it's in all 850s for deep snow. So I'll talk a little bit about that because I got to talk with Fred quite exclusively on the belt temp, and you'll see I have a video out on it. It does two things. One, it registers your throttle. So if you're riding along and you've got
you're
a pin.
All frozen, Dave.
Okay, am I still, or here? Let me get out to where it's a little bit. How's that, Jeremy? Better?
Oh, no.
Better? Can other guys see me? Give me a thumbs up if you can see me, or if it's just Joe or Jeremy is.
Bummer.
Jeremy, can you...
I think we lost our awesome connection we had there, buddy.
Well, you can, I think people, now you're sort of breaking up. People can see me. I'm going to keep talking anyway. And then when you come online. So yeah, though, talking about the belt temp sensor, how it works is on there's one part of it is through the throttle. So think of it this way, like a video game, that the more you push the throttle, it adds points. So if you hold it down, those points accumulate. And if you're on and off the throttle hard, points accumulate. And that's one measurement that it measures your riding style on how you, to the belt sensor. And the other one is through heat through the CVT cover. So through those two, there's an algorithm that they've done, and they're going to tune it as it goes along, that will warn you when those two get to a certain level. It'll beep and then give you it'll give you a warning, basically in a beep. Now, a reminder that it doesn't stop you, it doesn't lose power, it doesn't do anything like that.
Dave, I think you should hang it up, buddy.
No, you're good. I can still see you, Jeremy. You're still good, buddy. You're still good. Maybe somebody can write, Jeremy, you're good. You can still see. Jeremy, you're still good. I'm just going to write this. And tell anybody who's writing right now, tell Jeremy not to hang up. He might just have you losing it, so I'll just keep talking here. And then what it does is gives you that warning. Now, really what it's for is if someone comes in and goes through a belt and they put it on the buds and they've hit the belt monitor like 30 times, 50 times and gone past it. So you're not going to get a warranted belt, obviously. So it's just a warning to let you know. And where it comes from is in the Can-Am, the guys are literally going down in the desert racing. And what happens is they get a warning if the belt gets too hot. And then they just back off for a bit and let it cool down. And then they can hit it again, as opposed to blowing a belt and having to pull over and change that belt. So that's where that kind of comes from. So as we just stated, it's on all naturally aspirated and turbo 850. Not add it because the expense to do so would be too high, too great for that. Possibly. I think Jeremy might have hung up. Jeremy, if you can get. We'll ask him to get back, see if he can get back on here, because I think it was just his connection. If he can find another one, maybe we can still good. That's why you're just seeing me now. I think Jeremy took a little break. If you, Jeremy, if you get back on, that would be great, and we'll chat a little bit more. Yeah, so if people do have any more questions on that 850 naturally aspirated or the turbo, yeah, what I was just saying is I feel that it's just even riding it, a lot of the things that is just easier on the machine. And because you're not making, or you're not sort of putting more through the engine than it was designed for, it's really designed for all that stuff. And I think that's really important for people to know, and not be concerned over those things. So we're just trying to figure out if Jeremy, if you get back on, please try to get back on, and hey Ross, if you can maybe text Jeremy to tell him to try to get back on, that'd be great. We can finish up some more questions with the man. We're at about 50 minutes anyway, so we got about 9 minutes left. They cut us off at an hour. If you watched Ryan Harris yesterday, we got cut off, and you'll see that in the video. But we'll have Ryan Harris back on, and maybe we'll do some quick questions with Jeremy if he can find that connection. It makes it really hard when you do these live videos, especially now, especially in Jeremy's area. Everybody's on the internet, and it makes it a little bit harder for that. If you're joining in late, I don't know if Jay Menneberry is up yet, but remember, Jay, you got a lot of homework today. You got to do a garage beer, and you got to get your new haircut, buddy. This is the new haircut. It's called the cul-de-sac. Colton Olstat brought it in, and we're bringing it back, right? Matt Enns it was awesome to see Matt on here. Amazing guy doing lots of cool stuff. throughout the year, and he's going to be hopefully we'll see Jay do a garage beer and get the cul-de-sac look a little bit later today. You can check out his Instagram for that, as well as Jeremy's. So we've sort of lost Jeremy here. Let's see. Yeah, Jeremy's belt monitor was going off. That's funny. Let's see. Is the factory turbo as adjustable or more fine-tuned as aftermarket turbos? Well, depending on what you want to do, I think yes, and it will be. There is tunes for it that they use from the race department that aren't available to us, regular guys like us. But they, I will tell you, Rotex, their motto is they always design something small and then go bigger. So we'll see where it goes, and so there's lots of, I guess things you could do, but that's the best part about the factory turbo from Ski-Doo. You don't have to do anything. You just ride it. You just go right here and you ride it. You're not spending time tuning and testing and trying all those other things. Question here, will the front glove box compartment be put on the turbo in the future? Yeah, never know. You never know. We'll see. I really miss the glove box, but what I love is that riser bag. I use the short riser bag because I use a short piece, and it works amazing, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, a few little differences. I'll tell you, you get over that real fast once. Oh, Jeremy, you're back. Oh, he might be freezing up a little bit for me. Oh no, you're back. You're good, buddy. You're good.
Where'd you go, dude?
Well, where did I go? I've been here I've been trying to be me and you for the last 5 minutes.
I think there's too many people on the internet right now because you just keep freezing on me.
Oh, really? You're good. Both of us are really. I can see you, and I can hear you fine. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jeremy? You can't hear me. Can you hear me now, buddy? Yeah, we'll make a challenge out there. Anybody can do a cul-de-sac haircut. We're challenging anybody out there, and then post it. Make sure you tag Ski-Doo in it for the cul-de-sac for Colton Olstad and all the guys on the hill climb team. Jeremy, are you able to hear me? Yeah, I don't know if Jeremy can hear us too well. Try talking, buddy, and see if we can hear you. I'll answer this question, and if we can't hear, Jeremy might escape. Yeah, you can hear you, buddy. Yep, talk. I think Jeremy's worried of that we can't hear him, but probably, yeah. So somebody talked you out about ordering a 154. Now, the 154 is an awesome sled. I love it. The reason why I don't order one is I get lots of deep snow, and it's just not going to be conducive for what I want to do here. And the guys that have them, all wicked riders, they're still getting stuck everywhere when it's super deep. And I think Ryan Harris did the best video on that 154. If they get deep on those deep days, because on the other days when it isn't so deep, that 154 is going to be awesome, especially in the 2.5. But where I live, we can get 20 feet of snow in a week, and every day is just reset. And that's where the 175 just shines. And it also shines for sled skiing and getting into zones. And it'll be the same as you go down. So remember that 165 now is like a 54. It's got a 154 tunnel on it. And so you get kind of, like I said, if you watch my videos on the turbo, you kind of almost get, or the non-aspirated, you getting a 65 with a short tunnel, it's like you get two sleds now. It's nimble like a 154 because you got that tunnel, but it's got the length and the flotation of the 65. You got the limiter strap that changes it from keeping the skis down or keeping the skis up. And then when you add a turbo to all that, it's like you got 3 sleds. And because normally you'd have to have 2 sleds with an aftermarket turbo, one to ride when you didn't want to ride the turbo, one when you might need it when it's being fixed or tuning. And now you don't need that. And you can have, if you have a 165 turbo, it's like you got a 154, a 165, and a turbo. And it really is amazing of how that can cover all that stuff. So hey, we're gonna end it right there. Remember, snow check is April 14th, so that's coming up quick. Talk to your dealer, get in there, and it's if you have any questions, you can send them to myself through Instagram or Facebook. Also through Jeremy or any one of the ambassadors. You'll see a lot more. We're going to be here Monday night, I believe, with Ashley Chaffin. So that's good. You got to drop in for that after dark. I really want to thank Jeremy for coming on. He is just one of my favorite people in the industry, and super lucky to be a teammate of his. And you got to follow him on Facebook and Instagram. As with all of the ambassadors, one of the things that really helps us is getting the follows and having conversations with you guys. It's what we absolutely love to do. And remember, one of the difference is we're lucky we get to hang out with the engineers and marketing and parts and accessories. So we try to relay that information as truthfully and as easily for you to digest that as possible. And it's all to make your experience better. And that's what we're up. We're not saying you need to buy all this stuff, but we're trying to give you the best decision making or tool so that you can make the best decision for you. So thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. Happy Easter weekend. I hope you guys are doing well. Love and cherish your family time right now because that's super important. And remember, get in there, cul-de-sac.